welcome to Ryan Finnegan.
Faces in the audience today. And if you know me, obviously you know this is my first time ever doing stand-up.
Bullshit.
Thank you for the support. If you don't know me and you're finding out that this is my first time doing stand-up, sorry, no refunds. And I know that because when I told my wife we were going to Visani, she got excited. When I told her I was doing stand-up, she immediately called and tried to get her money back. Yeah, you might have saw her out in the parking lot trying to scalp her ticket before the show. So you might be wondering, okay, why am I doing stand-up? Why at 40 years old as a realtor am I standing on stage in front of you people right now? Well, it's simple. You see my buddy Nick Nemec here, who's in the audience. Give it up for Nick. He decided it would be really funny back in November at my birthday to give me this as a birthday present. So he surprised me with it, and here I am. So I thought I'd start my set off by telling you a little story about Nick from back in his college days. See, there's a couple things that Nick loved back in college. One of them was wine, and the other was cougars. True story. So Nick decided he was going to go out to his favorite watering hole one night. I believe it was called, what was it called, Nick? Cougars and Cabs?
Yeah.
Was that the place? Cougars and Cabs. He loved it. So he went out there by himself that night, and he had a few too many vinos, and he was closing the bar down. And there was one lady left in the bar. Now, the place was called Cougars and Cabs, but this, if you know what a cougar is, older, attractive woman, obviously, this was no cougar. This is what we call a double dingo. And if you don't know what a double dingo is, it was explained to me by an Australian friend of mine a few years back. You see, back in the bush in Australia, they have issues with the dingoes getting to their cattle. So the ranchers put these traps around the outside of the ranch to catch these dingoes before they get to the cattle. Well, unfortunately, when they get their arm caught in the trap, what happens is the ranchers can't get to them fast enough and they end up biting one of their arms off. Thus, the same thing when you take an ugly person home from drinking too much, and you wake up the next morning and your arm is stuck, you gotta bite that thing off so see if he doesn't wake up so you can get out the door, right? But that's a single dingo. See, the double dingo is the really ugly lady. So what you do is you bite the other arm off to make sure you don't ever do it again. Right? So back to the story. Nick takes this double dingo home from his cougar, right? And they start to mess around, and she looks at him and she goes, "Young man, I'm going to give you the best blowjob you ever got in your life. And not only am I going to give you the best blowjob you ever got, I'm going to sing you a song while I'm doing it." Now Nick says, "Oh, what do I got to do to make this happen?" She goes, "Well, all you got to do is lay on that bed, turn that light off, and I'll take care of the rest." And sure enough, Nick lays down, turns the light off, and she goes to town. And let me tell you, it was the best blowjob he's ever gotten, and she was singing the national anthem while she was doing it. So according to Nick, it was the best blowjob, and she was singing pretty well. Now, she's not Whitney Houston's Super Bowl national anthem, but he wasn't going to beat her up about it. So she got to write about Land of the Free, and Nick, being the inquisitive young man that he was at the time, he's like, "Look, this is awesome, but I got to know, how is she doing this? How is she giving me a blowjob and singing the national anthem at the same time?" So he reaches over, turns the light on. The first thing he sees on the nightstand next to him is her glass eye. Yeah. I know, gross, right? That's why we call him Old Deep Socket Nick. And for any of you cougars out there right now, just so you know, his wife is here, and if she tells you to keep your eye off her husband, she means it. Sorry. I do gotta know something though. Ever since I made up this completely fake story to get you back for getting me up here, When you reached over and turned that light on and saw that glass eye, did you turn it back off for Home of the Brave, or did you keep it on? You kept the light on, didn't you? Sick son of a bitch. Well, God bless you, man. God bless America. Yeah. Speaking of America, 2024 was quite the year for us, huh? I'm kind of glad. I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad we're flipping the page to 2025. You know, election years are tough as it is, but wow, that was something else, wasn't it? I'm glad we can get back to just hating each other once a month on Facebook. I mean, it was getting pretty bad. I remember back in October, I was looking for this book as a gift for a friend of mine, so I went to Books A Million. And I hadn't been to Books A Million in like, ever. And let me tell you something, they got like 1 million books. And the problem was I couldn't remember the name of the book, but I knew what it was about and I knew the author. So I'm walking around for about 20 minutes up and down these aisles, looking at all these books, trying to figure out where it is. And finally, this girl comes up to me, she's working there, and she's got purple hair on one side, she's got green hair on the other, there's earrings all over her face, and she goes, can I help you? And I said, yes, as a matter of fact, you can. I'm looking for a book. It's about American immigration, and it was written by Donald Trump. And she goes, you get the hell out of here, and you don't ever come back. And I was like, that's it. That's the one. That's the one right there. She knew it. She knew it right away. I mean, honestly, they gotta have some kind of book club or something there. I mean, she knew it immediately. She was very helpful. Sport is weird. Someone else who's very helpful in my life, my beautiful wife, is here supporting me tonight. She wasn't able to sell her ticket, so she's unfortunately sitting here. We just celebrated our 9-year wedding anniversary. And I know a lot of you old timers in the crowd are going, 9 years, that's nothing. 9 years. I've been married 30, 40 years plus. You're on the brink of things, but I gotta tell you, 9 years in the age of social media, you gotta add like 30 to that thing right away. I mean, I hear it all the time. The old timers are telling me, oh, we married for 30 years. And to that I say, yeah, George, I'm sure you and Martha have had 30 beautiful years together. But did you ever have to come home from work after that bitch Gladys down the street liked a post of yours on Facebook? Yeah. I don't think so. If you have any type of social media and you're married, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, OnlyFans, you guys are in trouble. I mean, you gotta add some time to that. And on top of that, women these days, I mean, they have their own jobs. It's not like in the 60s or 50s. They make as much money as us, sometimes more, right? So you guys mess around and they leave you. You're gonna end up losing your kids, losing your car, losing your house. You're going to be paying alimony. She's going to be making double than you. And women are spiteful. Who's to say? It's 2025, remember. She might come back next year fully transformed into a man and steal your new girlfriend. Yeah. But we don't have to worry about that. My wife and I, we got it going on. She helps me. We've been through it, the ups and downs. I remember a few weeks back, I was a little nervous about this, obviously. I've never been up on stage before. And we were in Publix, we were in the produce section, and she could tell I was a little anxious. So she asked me, she goes, hey, what's going on? I can tell, something's a little off. And I go, well, you know, I'm a little nervous. I'm thinking about the comedy set. Not so nervous about getting in front of people, but I've never done it before. I don't know if I have enough time. They want me to do a little 5 minutes. I don't know if I'm even funny. So my wife, being the beautiful woman she is, she goes, you know what you need to do? You need to do a dry run with me. Make sure you have enough material, and I'll tell you whether it's funny. So I thought it was a great idea. So I bent her over the lettuce and started dry humping her right there. Yeah. Good news is, I lasted 5 minutes. And she thought it was funny as hell. Bad news is, Publix did not think it was funny as hell. And they made me buy 32 heads of lettuce. And we're not allowed to shop in Publix anymore. She hates that joke. She didn't want me to do that joke. And it's not because it's 100% true. or the fact that I had to pay for head. Or the fact that my mother and father-in-law are sitting right there. The reason she hates that joke is because she's still been sneaking into Publix for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, we're Florida kids. Where the hell are we supposed to buy our produce? Winn-Dixie? I don't think so. You ever see the lighting in there? The ambiance is all off. I like a good firm head of lettuce. I just thought about another reason why it's harder to be married today's day and age than it was back then. Have you guys ever had to do 3 family photos in 1 year? Yeah, let me show you guys something. This is how my wife wanted me to sit for our Christmas photo. Yeah, I look like a freaking mermaid. I can barely get into that position, much less stay the 10 minutes that's going to take my 6-year-old to actually smile and keep his eyes open for a photo. Besides that, my dad was born in 1953. If you think I'm putting that pose on a postcard and sending it to him so he can put it on his refrigerator all year, yeah, the shit I'm going to take. And my buddies, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next golf outing. Get a nice shot onto the green. They're going to be up there like, I think it leans a little to the left, but I didn't know anything. Anyways, guys, I'll end it with this. I've got a buddy I grew up with, and change is hard in life. And I've known him since I was little, and his whole life he had this really high-pitched voice. As we grew up, he just never hit puberty, and he talked like this his whole life. So as I was friends with him, you know, he took the abuse in high school over his voice, and he took the abuse in college. Middle school was horrible, and he called me the other day, and he's like, "Hey Ryan, I'm done with this. I can't talk like this anymore." And I'm like, "Hey buddy, listen, you're gonna be okay, man. What do you need to do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the doctor and get this thing figured out." So I go, "Hey, I support you, man. Go do what you gotta do." So he goes to the doctor, and he's in the waiting room. Doctor comes in, he says, "Mr. So-and-so, what's going on?" And he just unloads on him. He's like, "I've talked like this my whole life, ever since I was little. My wife is embarrassed. We can't go out to dinner. My kids are old enough now where they can get embarrassed." He's like, whoa. Doctor says, "Hold on. Strip down. We're gonna do a full physical. We're gonna figure this out." So doctor leaves the room. He gets down to nothing, and he's sitting on the table there. Doctor comes back in. Doctor looks at him. He goes, "Whoa." He goes, "There's your problem, buddy. Your dick's like 2 feet long." He goes, "I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that thing pulling on your vocal cords." He goes, "Here's what I want to do." He goes, "I want to take about a foot of that bad boy off." He goes, "It's an exploratory surgery, but I think it'll loosen some things up, make you feel better, and I think it'll fix your voice." He's like, "Doc, do whatever you're gonna do. I don't care, just do it." So he has the surgery. He comes back a couple days later for the follow-up, and he's sitting there. The doctor walks in, and he goes, "Doc, before you say anything, best surgery I ever had. Thank you so much. Listen to me. I talk normal. My kids aren't embarrassing me anymore. I've gone out to dinner 4 times. My wife's not embarrassed." He goes, "Best surgery I could ever had." He goes, "But I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but you know that foot you took off?" He goes, "I was talking a little bit about my wife about it, and you wouldn't have that thing laying around. I'd like it back for sentimental value." And the doctor looks at him and goes, "Oh, I'm sure it's around here somewhere." That's all I got for you guys. If you want to come up, I'm going to be outside after the show in my truck selling heads of lettuce. And then I got this shirt here. The first 10 guys get it. It says, "I pay for head."
That takes a lot of cojones to get up there and do that. Good for you, Ryan. And I learned something. I learned Nick likes older women. Guys, Are you ready for your feature act? All